Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your Metal Market Wrap-Up, and this wrap-up is for Monday, and we're here at Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, 2022. Wow, 7:05 p.m., by the way. If you're trying to get a handle on these markets, you're probably not doing too well at it because you get up, you go have a coffee, you come back, and it's a different world. The new event that is taking place is Ukrainian President Zelensky is now talking about maybe they should do away with the idea in the Ukraine of ever joining NATO. Now, it is in their constitution to do that. They would have to change the constitution, but given the fact that NATO basically doesn't want them, it's a dream trying to get in there because of Russia, why not do away with it? And will that calm down this Russian situation? Well, if he does that, President Putin, again, has a win. Did it for his borders. His people will love him for that. And nobody's hurt one way or the other, if that would be enough to appease him. We won't know, but I will tell you this. German Chancellor Scholz doing a pretty good job. Scholz, yeah, I think that's how you say it. He's there. He got that to come out of President Zelensky's mouth. Now he flies to Moscow. He seems to be doing a better job than anybody at getting something done, including Mr. Who? Who's our Secretary of State? You know what I mean. All right. The other thing that went on today in Canada, I don't know if you saw this, but they declared an emergency order. Justin Trudeau followed his father's footstep. He was the other one to do this 50 years ago. And now the people in Ottawa that have been protesting, there's about 400 trucks that have just absolutely tied up the streets, the people. It's like a camp-in, massive GoFundMe page, all about the restrictions due to COVID. And via a decree that he is entitled to make, and it can stay in place for 1 week, he's clearing out everybody. And the question is, will Parliament back him up on it or not? These are the events you're dealing with, and if you think you can get a fast handle on them, you probably can't, because it's going to change quicker than you can react to it. You're trading a world event with the Ukraine, and then when that ends, we can at least get back to what is the Fed going to do or not going to do, and start talking about the talk on inflation. Is inflation going to come down? And if it does, do we get all those necessary hikes that people are trying to say we have to have in order to control inflation? But as you come to the gold market, gold has tailwinds, good ones. It's got the Ukrainian situation. It's finally paid attention to that. It took a while. The dollar not advancing strong. That's a good thing for it. And, of course, it's got the Ukrainian situation. So inflation, all this coming together has picked the market up, and now here you are at the 1871.90 level. When you take a look at where the market's gone, you can see the run-up that it's had. Normally, I look for a pullback on this, and where do you think that might fit in? Well, it won't be at a moving average because you're over all of them. So the logical spot is the Bollinger Band, where the next resistance is, and if you don't see that, I give up. At the end of this video, I'll show you about enhanced Bollinger Bands, why they're so important. Stay tuned for that. All right, so you're in a resistance zone where the pros are likely taking money off the table. Now, because of the situation, will they take all their money off the table? I think they're going to be willing to lose back a bit. So even though normally I would tell you they're coming out of their whole position, because of the Ukraine, they may not be. I get it. You wake up in the morning, we don't know. You may wake up in the morning, well, actually, I'll make a big bet that tomorrow you won't wake up and hear there's war. Why? You've got the German Chancellor going there. They'll let him get out of Dodge if they're going to invade on Wednesday, as some people still think. You know, the U.S. moved its embassy today. 12 other countries have closed their embassies down. I don't know if you're aware of that, and they're sending people out of the country. So we don't know. It's just a simple part of it. But that's why people will hold on to a token. But will they take money? Yeah, you don't want to get caught where all of a sudden you come in and you're down $20 just because it looks like peace is on the table. Be careful with that. The gold-silver ratio is still fighting at the 18-day average of closes. Silver's in an uptrend now, but it is overbought too. stiff resistance waiting for this market, 24.45 to 25.50. That is where I'd say the pros would take money off the table again. And on that, I think they take it all. Gold is different than silver if you're looking for a war move. In the copper market, the trend is up. We've been in a correction as momentum, as you can see here, had gotten overbought, turned itself down. It's no longer overbought. And now the battleground is right here, the 18-day average of closes. But we've been in this story for the longest period of time. I am still of the opinion that $5 level is the zone the copper is going to ultimately go to. In the platinum and palladium, you got bids. Remember what I told you. The first time that you hear that the bridges from Canada and the U.S. are open, immediately you're going to get demand on, especially the palladium, catalytic converter. You know, platinum, yeah, diesel car converter. But here, just to give you an idea, up of $152 an ounce. A big move by any stretch, and that's what I was looking for. You're also getting a convergence now of the 200 and 100-day average of closes. You had an outside day down on Friday. You took the high of that day out. My target, when that occurs, is the closest of a key moving average or the Bollinger Band. It's the Bollinger Band. I'm wrong if the market gets back under Friday's lows. Last, as we get over here to Bitcoin, well, it's not last, we'll have a couple more things, but you know, a lot of people say, why do I put Bitcoin in the metals? And I know it's not a metal. It's just because it's tied to all this craziness that's going on. It's been in a swoop to the downside after having hit the all-important Bollinger Bands. You've got to learn how to work with Bollinger Bands. And once you see that, you understand why the market's pulling back from that number. It makes all the sense that I know how to teach. And in the dollar index, well, the dollar index right now has got the headwind of what? Fed tightening, but the tailwind of what? The Ukrainian situation. So it oscillates. Now, it's proven. Very good supports waiting for the market at the 100-day average of closes. You and I were talking about that as it occurred. On Friday, you got up and settled over the 18-day average, throwing again the trend back to the upside. Higher lows, higher highs, and a close over that number. The risk is to not get back under this low. And from there, if you can extend the rally, then the upper Bollinger Band at 97.16, almost back to the highs of the move, could be where the market is going. More likely, it's going to be a window envelope number. And I talk about that in my morning subscriber videos. That'll be where I look for the resistance to come into the marketplace. So as I told you, Bollinger Band, Bollinger Band, Bollinger Band. Key when you're looking at markets for where they might peak out. What are they going to do, bottom side or upside? How do I get this to you? Watch this. Welcome. I'm Ira Epstein, and I'm here to talk about my enhanced Bollinger Band course. Now, many of you have taken my regular charting course, and if not, you might think you know something about Bollinger Bands. As you know, Bollinger Bands are an algorithm designed to keep the market trading within it 95% of the time. And on a chart, it will offer on the top part resistance, on the bottom support, and the idea is the market will travel within them. We know that sometimes it latches onto that band, goes up or goes down. Well, how do you play with that? Can you pyramid the positions off that type of thinking? Well, I've applied all three of these into 13 different videos that teach you my concept of it. And from that concept, you're able to work with weekly charts and or daily charts. The 13 videos, each about 7 minutes long. The idea here is not to put you in school forever, but to teach. Now, if you haven't tried my complete futures research, I throw that in as well. Whether you've tried this or not, I think it's worth taking a look at. I think you're going to learn something from there. That research, by the way, covers twice daily market updates for you and access to what I call window envelope numbers, which I think are very important when looking at these Bollinger Bands. The next part is a trial to our charting software so you can make your charts look the same way that mine do. It's that simple. Where do you go with it and how do you get all this? It's simple. You go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. If you go to the word education, everything you need is answered there. You can also call my staff. They'll be happy to help you get set up. I'm Ira Epstein, on the road to your education.